Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the all-new 5th generation 2023 Toyota Prius. This is the limited trim level, finished off in cutting edge. They have an MSRP of right around $34,000. And powering this limited trim level is the 2-liter 4-cylinder. It's paired with that hybrid electric system along with the CVT transmission, pumping out 194 horsepower, 139 pound-feet of torque. That power sent to the front wheels, propelling this 3,500-pound sedan from 0 to 60 in 6.4 seconds. Top speed is 115 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 10.6 gallons, and you'll expect to see around 52 miles per gallon in the city and 52 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 108.3 inches. Its overall length is 181.1. It has a width of 70.2 and a height of 56.3 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for the all-new Toyota Prius, let's start off with the front end design and how much different it looks than the previous model. So Toyota badge is front and center, of course, and we have almost this bullnose design with the lines in the hood going from the base of the windshield all the way around the front. I think that gives it a really cool look. And then coming off of that all the way to the headlight housings, that trim piece goes all the way in between, where this does have LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals. And you'll notice that the turn signal swoops around that entire piece, very nicely incorporated, along with how thin that grille is, matching the headlight housings. Now up front, this also has a forward-facing camera tucked up nicely. There's a sensor up on the top of the windshield, as well as one down below for the adaptive cruise. Parking sensors are located throughout too. And in the corners are the LED fog lights with some gloss black trim. That makes its way around the lower section of the grille, where there is plenty of cooling for the engine, as well as some better aerodynamics. I think it has a pretty cool new redesign, especially when you compare it to that previous model. Now, one thing that's also cool to note, when you lock and unlock it, it has a nice little chime to it, which is certainly different from other vehicles. Now, as we work our way to the side, this has a set of 19-inch wheels with that two-tone design. This also features regenerative braking. More of that gloss black surrounds the fender arches just to match the rest of that trim. It's on the side mirrors too, which do have a camera. Very interesting to see there is no turn signal, but there's a camera. Full gloss black for the panoramic sunroof, and then even black surrounding the window trim. You'll notice too the streamline design that the new Prius has. Very low for the roof line, and it kind of dips back in the back there just to give you some more cargo space. There's also a line in that lower section of the door that goes straight up to the back. Again, really cool, much different than the 4th generation. And as we work our way to the back, you'll notice that the top section of the trunk lid is black, just to match in nicely with the LED taillights, as well as that LED bar that runs right through the middle. Prius is underneath that. There's a backup camera, all of the sensors, and some more of that trim running right in the middle with body colored in that lower section. Now, as we work our way to the cargo space, there are actually 2 buttons up underneath to the right of this backup camera. There's the one on the far right side, which can actually lock the vehicle, so when you walk away you can do that. The one on the left side is how you can open up this power liftgate. You can use the key fob, of course, if you need to. And then once we are in the back, there's some storage on that far driver's side there, a little bit on the passenger side. With the back seats up, you get a good amount of space. It is a little bit low, as you can see where the trunk lid would close. There's this removable cover too. It actually folds in the middle. So those are the hinges where you can easily remove it and get that out of the way. There is a little bit of storage up underneath the floor if you need to utilize those bins. And then of course you can fold down the back seats to give you that much more space. I will say it is a little bit tight in the back, but it is doable, especially for this size. And then up top, there's another way that you can lock this vehicle, or just push the one on the left for it to automatically close. Now, as we work our way to the back, you'll notice that the door handles for the back doors don't match the front doors. I think it would be cool if the fronts matched the rears, which are up here. You just stick your hand in, there's an electronic button, and then you can release that back door. Now, for the interior, we have leather. There's also the JBL sound system, and we have a pretty simple design, but it's very nice, especially with the two-tone look. And then more of that Softex leather makes its way to these back seats. And at 5'10", I have a good amount of space plenty of room for my feet and my legs. These are actually heated seats too. And then there's some auxiliaries in the lower section so you can charge electronics. Now, as far as headroom goes, I'm almost just touching the headliner, but I can sit upright and be comfortable. So 3 people could easily be back here. Might be a little bit tight, but it is doable. And right in the middle, you have the armrest as well as 2 cup holders. And then still plenty of visibility. A little bit of a pillar there, but I haven't had any issues driving this the last week as far as visibility goes. And plus you have that camera system too, which is very helpful. As we look at the front door panel now, similar to the rear of course, however, there's the memory seats, all of the window adjustments, side mirror adjustments, and a little bit more storage. And then a little bit more support for these front seats. And it's a low car, so it's easy to jump down into it basically. As we move on to the leather wrap steering wheel, we have a great design to it. On this left side, all of these controls are for the gauge cluster. There's even volume, your voice commands. There's mode for the audio, all of the cruise and adaptive cruise control settings. And so if we fire this up, power button is over on that right side. We can bring all the electronics to life. And then we can move on to the gauge cluster. Now it is a bit far back. That is one thing that I do wish it was closer. Steering wheel kind of blocks it, at least from my eyesight and my perspective. But for this info or this gauge cluster setup, you can see right now on the right side, there's miles per hour along with fuel level. You have your power and eco along with your charging, so you can monitor that. Currently on the left side, there's the eco zone for your eco score. So you can monitor your start, your cruise, your stop. Basically, it just shows you how you are driving for the day. Now, if I scroll down, there's the adaptive cruise along with the compass. You can pull up music, go into your trip information so you can see where your energy monitor is being used. You have your tire pressure as well. You can go into all of these safety features that are standard on this model. So you can turn them all on and off just depending on what you would like to have. And as you can tell, there is a lot to go through. If I scroll down one more time, there's messages. We can go back up to the eco score where there's a few others that I didn't show previously. And then we are back to the start there. Odometer's in that lower left too, and it gives you a good bit that you can monitor. Now over on this left side, there's the automatic headlights, defrosters, even a heated steering wheel, and then the release for that power trunk, as well as the fuel cap release. There's even some ambient lighting just underneath that air vent there with some cool trim accents. JBL speakers are on both A-pillars up front. And then right in the middle, we have the massive touchscreen system. Now on this left side, I can push on the navigation, which you can go into when you have that activated. You can use, of course. You can quickly get into music along with phone when you have that paired. When you go into the vehicle icon, you can go into your climates, so you can easily adjust those. Even go into some trip information, you can monitor all of that. There's the energy flow, so you can see where the power is being sent, vehicle alert. And then the last one is for settings. So you can scroll through all this information and just get it set up the way that you would like to. So not a whole lot, but I love the size of the screen and the function of it. It definitely is plentiful for driving this every day. Now, power and volume is on that far right side. More air vents underneath, and more of that ambient lighting goes all the way to the passenger side. And then with the controls in the middle, we do have heated and ventilated seats. There's the AC adjustments. Temperature is right in the middle along with your fan speed, so you can quickly do that. And then we have where you would like the air to go. So it is a single zone, and then we have the off along with some other defrosters. Now below that, there are some auxiliaries and a little bit of storage where you can place some items. Now check this out. There's a small arrow right in the middle. If I push on that, you can actually lift this up and get a larger space. So if you want to put some items down there in that hidden compartment, as it says in the bottom, you can easily do that and then lock it back into place when you want to hide those items or use this upper tray there. Now there's 2 cup holders behind that. And then looking at this shifter, very similar to some BMW models, you push it over and up. That is for reverse, where the backup camera will appear with the guidelines. And on this left side, I can change that angle slightly along with the guidelines themselves. Now, if I put this into drive, it's the same as reverse, just in the opposite direction. Now we have that angle for the forward-facing camera, along with a few guideline settings, even the automatic settings. So when you have it in automatic, when you come to a stop or a slow speed, roughly 2 to 3 miles an hour, this will automatically pop up for you. So as you saw, drive was just the same as reverse, we do have the braking setting here where you can use the regenerative braking. Basically, it will make you slow down a little bit quicker. You don't have to use the brake pedal as much if you want to recharge the battery quicker. And then park is located up top. Now on this right side, this is the wireless charging pad. You put your phone in sideways, it'll sit in there very nicely and charge, of course. And then behind that, there's traction control along with the e-brake, auto hold. There is an EV mode. Basically what that does, since this is not the Prime model, under 27 miles an hour or so, you can just use strictly the EV setting, which is very nice, especially in parking lot situations, things like that. And then above that, we have the drive modes. So this has custom, sport, normal, and an eco setting. Basically, it'll just modulate your throttle response depending on how you would like to drive. Behind that, we have the armrest with some more auxiliaries and a good bit of storage for all of those items. And then the glove box has a good amount of space as well. Now up top, this is the rear view mirror. As you can tell, that is the current visibility. Not sure if you'll be able to see the headrest for the back seats or not, but you can flip that up and we get that camera system in the rear view. Very beneficial to have. I think a lot of vehicles should start incorporating that. And then up top, we do have dual sunshades for the sunroof. They are manual, so you do have to pull on both of them in order to open them up. And then as far as visibility goes, very easy to see. Like I said, there's a little bit of a pillar back there, but even over that left shoulder, you can clearly see. As we set off now behind the wheel for the all-new 5th generation Prius, this is actually my first time ever even driving a Prius, and I think it's really cool to be able to check out this completely redesigned model. Now, like I mentioned earlier, this has an MSRP of right around $34,000, and of course that depends on the trim level that you go with, along with if you get the normal Prius or you go up to the Prius Prime. I believe the highest trim level for the Prime is just over $40,000, so we have roughly a $10,000 discrepancy between the models available, just depending on your budget and what you are looking to get out of your Prius. So for around $34,000 or so, I think that is pretty awesome to see. Now, if you're not familiar with Toyota actually introduced the Prius as the very first hybrid electric, basically, in the entire car industry. So the Prius, as much as some people might give it some hate, it was actually pretty revolutionary for the car industry, for cars coming out with the hybrid electric system. And Toyota has also been, aside from 2 cars, I think, they are not really making fully electric vehicles. They are sticking with this hybrid technology, which I think is really cool, and all that credit goes towards the Prius. And for this being a brand new model, for being in the $30,000 range, for a hybrid electric system, seems extremely affordable. There's a lot of other models and vehicles out there that are well over $40,000, even $50,000, just because of that technology, and Toyota is keeping it, at least for the Prius, very affordable by today's standards. The average price of a new vehicle is getting closer to 50 grand, so you can get into this under 40 grand for sure, and you get that hybrid technology, you get incredible gas mileage. I have still over half a tank left, and I've been driving this for about 6 days or so. So the MPG is incredible for this as a good daily driver. So let's talk about that now, what it's like to drive this all new Prius. I really don't have any complaints with it. It's super comfortable, very quiet, and it's a nice place to be. Now, what I haven't done yet is checked out its 0 to 60 or given it an acceleration. So I'm going to put it into sport mode now. And as far as being able to turn this around, very easy. It has tight steering, which is nice. So we'll give it a little bit of gas. And we're up to speed. What I found is Toyota made this a little bit more powerful, and the Prime is even more powerful than this. That got up to speed fine. I wouldn't say it was inadequate. You can definitely merge into traffic without having to kind of redline the engine, basically. So it's got some power, even from the speed I was going. Slight acceleration. You can hear that engine, of course, but I think it's fine, especially for this type of vehicle. Very adequate for the weight of it, too. But it's super comfortable. I love these seats. They're definitely in a good position, and we have a lot of visibility. So I showed that earlier, of course. We even have windows in front of the side mirrors. So you have a lot of visibility for how low this roofline looks from the exterior. From the interior, very open feeling. So that is definitely a huge plus. And with it in sport mode, here we go. That is almost pedal to the floor, getting up to speed. Like I said, it's pretty adequate for this type of vehicle. I'm glad that they did add more power, and if you go with the Prime, you get a little bit more power if that is something that you are looking for. So behind the wheel of this basically $35,000 to $40,000 Toyota Prius, this has been a really nice vehicle. Like I said, suspension also rides very nice. There's no adjustments for the suspension. You just have the different driving modes. So if I put it into eco mode now and give it an acceleration, you can definitely feel a slight delay there compared to sport mode. Now, one thing I also want to touch briefly on is the position of the gauge cluster with the steering wheel. I'm not sure if you will be able to tell, the camera is slightly higher than where my eyesight is, so you're going to be able to see it a little bit better, but the top of the steering wheel goes right in between the speedometer, so that 41 miles an hour there, I can just see. Anything under it, I do have to lean up, and you can adjust the steering wheel, but that's as high as it goes. And if I wanted it lower in my knees here, just doesn't really feel right. So that's just a slight issue that I have with my size. If you're different, you know, you have the seating position differently, it might be different, of course, for you. But I do wish that screen was closer. Maybe they could integrate it into the infotainment system somehow. But that's just a slight thing that I have found with it. Aside from that, it has been really great. Like I've said, super comfortable, very quiet too. This is a great highway driver, great daily driver in general, and it's something that if you want something that's very, very fuel efficient, this is definitely a great option. You can go, if you go with the Prime model, you can actually get that as the plug-in hybrid. So you have about 44 miles or so on just that EV system alone. For this, the battery is of course charged by the engine and driving, and you can use the EV system, but it's set at a certain speed limit. So unlike the Prime, where you can go farther distances and go at a higher speed, of course, just depends on what you'd like to get. So it's nice that you have two different options, just depending on what you would like. And I think the hybrid technology is definitely something that is more beneficial than full EV, more beneficial than strictly just having a combustible engine. I think it's really good technology that they should start incorporating into a lot more vehicles. And turning radius for this is very tight, so that is easy. Let's do another acceleration. If we had to merge into traffic here, and we're up to speed, not even full throttle there. But yeah, the all-new 5th generation Toyota Prius, I think it has a much better look than the outgoing model. It's a lot more sporty looking than the previous model too, I think. And it has some nice features and amenities to make this a really good commuter vehicle, if that is something you're in the market for. So I hope you enjoyed today's video with the 2023 Toyota Prius. Give the video a huge thumbs up. Consider smashing that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.